Good morning, grandkids. I'll see if I can come up with some ideas to talk about this morning. It's been a while since I've been on here, I guess. First of all, I'll show you my medicine list. I want you to look at this. This is each one line is a day. I've got to finish this day and 2 more days. And then I can go down to just 4 of these a day, thank goodness. That's a lot of... Those are eye drops. All those in a day is eye drops. Like 9:30, 11, 12:30, 2. I'll be so glad when this is through. But that eye looks so much better. And I'm seeing almost as good as I could before I had this done, which I was able to see everything okay. Even if I covered this eye, I could still, things had a little blurry lines around them or 2 edges around them, something like that. But that's what it almost is now. So I hope it don't stop there. I wouldn't have needed to get this done. I hope it'll get better than this. Okay, that's all about my eyes. I want somebody to tell me on here which was the game that came just before Skyrim. I know one was Oblivion, but I don't think that was the one. I think that one was way back. Anyway, let me know. I might start playing that just to have something to play for you. Because I don't like anything. I've looked at all the games. I've even bought some of the games to try them. And I don't like them. None of them are as smooth as Skyrim. And most of them have way too many controls for me to use. I think that at my age, 88, I'm stuck now with Skyrim as my last type of game to play. So I look at the new ones when they come out, and they're getting more difficult as far as the controls are concerned. And also, some of the big games, I start walking through them with my character, and the walking is stupid, and you can't go very far off anywhere. And Skyrim is just your own thing. You can do anything you want to and go anywhere you want to. And I love that. And so if I find a game that makes me that happy, the controls are too bad. If the controls are easy, the game's stupid. So that's the problem I'm having with playing games right now. Although I play Skyrim for myself a lot. So I'm just not playing it for you anymore. Let me see. Alright, you guys asked me to tell you something about me, my life, or how I grew up or something. Just to tell you something interesting about myself. Or maybe not interesting, I don't know. So I wrote down a couple of things. About the time that I was 6 years old and had started kindergarten. Back in those days, if you couldn't afford to have one of them funny cars they had back then, anyway, I think they looked funny, while you walked everywhere or took a street bus. I don't know if any towns have street buses anymore. This one doesn't. And some would say that it's too little, but even little towns back then had a street bus so that you could go places without having to walk. But we walked. And so, and it was normal. I mean, parents weren't afraid for their kids to be out walking to school, even in kindergarten and first grade. And I was in kindergarten, and I had to walk down to the corner and turn the corner and cross the street. My mom would watch me walk down to the corner and cross the street, and then she'd go back in the house. When I crossed the street, I had to turn and go up a block and around like a half a block, and there was the school. So I wasn't too bad as long as she watched me get across the street without getting hit. Let's see, what else did I do? Oh, and when she watched me across the street and went back in the house, I turned and went down that street, and there was a dog that lived in the middle of the block. Thank goodness it was behind a fence. But it was a big dog, and it looked like a mean dog. And it would run at the fence and start barking and barking and barking at me. His tail wasn't wagging, and his big, long, sharp teeth was bared at me, and he scared me to death. And I don't know if I ever told my mom about him or not. She'd have probably walked with me down this side of the street and then crossed the street up there after I got past him in that block. But I don't think I ever told her. Anyway, he was big and mean looking. But after I grew up, I loved big dogs. And that's the only kind I ever had. One after the other, and some at the same time, was big dogs. Let me see, what else was I going to tell you? Oh, and when I was about 6, maybe, I don't know, I was either in my late 5-year-old year or the beginning of my 6-year-old. It would have been late 5-year-old because it was Christmas, and I wasn't 6 until April 2nd. So, do any of you know about what's called a box camera? A square camera with a lens in the middle of it, and you'd click something on the side or the top and it would take a picture, a black and white picture. And when you got it developed, when you got it developed, it was a black and white picture. Well, I didn't even know how to use it. But somebody, I think it was my mother, got it for me for Christmas. And she had put it away somewhere where I couldn't find it. So Christmas came and went. We all opened presents. And way later, I don't know if it was a week, something like that. And she came to me one day and she said, I just found this present that I'd gotten you for Christmas and had put it away so you couldn't find it. And she gave it to me. And it was a box camera. And I had no idea how to use it. She may have showed me, but I don't remember her showing me. Sometime way later, I learned how to use it. So I never had any pictures from that. So that was my experience with getting a box camera for Christmas. Wasn't very good. Let me see. The other thing that I got that same Christmas, though, that I loved, and I'll tell you how much I loved it. And that was a baby doll. Now, back then, they weren't made as well as dolls are now. Their arms were fastened on with like a cord running through. Their legs were fastened on with a cord leading attached and going through them up to their head, I think. You could take their head, pull it up and down on that cord. You could stretch their arms in and out. Not stretch their arms, but pull them out and stretch that cord. And their legs, too. And they was always getting broken, that cord. And somehow one of my brothers would fix the cord or put another cord on there. So I had that doll for years and years and years. I loved that doll. It was a red-headed doll. And back then, I don't know. Most dolls that I see anymore are just ceramic hair on the ceramic head. I don't know if they make false hair on them anymore or not. I never look at dolls. I guess I should. Anyway, this one, way back then, they glued a head of hair on there, and it looked just like that. A head of hair glued on something. Kind of creepy. And she had curly red hair, but it was all tight and close. And anyway, she would keep losing her hair. And then before my brothers, one of them could glue it back on, I'd wag that doll around. It was usually hanging by an arm from my hand. And I just carried it around with me wherever I'd walk around the house. And just leave it bald-headed and all that dried hard glue on there. It was so ugly. But I loved that doll so much. And I had that doll clear up until I got married the first time. And my first husband was about as much of a child as I was, because he was only a year older than me, and I was practically a child. And I was going to throw the doll away. And he said, "No, that's something that you've always loved and had with you, and I don't want you to throw it away." What he wound up doing was throwing it in the trunk of the car. And every time he'd open the trunk for anything, to get a tire out or whatever, the doll was there. And he said, "I like having the doll in there." So when we got divorced, I asked him, "Do you want me to take the doll out and throw it away?" And he said, "No, I don't want you to throw it away." And he kept that doll in the trunk until he started seeing a girl, and they wound up getting married. And he was married then to her for the rest of his life, till he passed away at old age. Well, I shouldn't say an old age. I'm 88 and he was 80, would have been 89. He died when he was back in his 60s or 70s. Anyway, so that was my experience with that doll. I guess he threw it away then when he started going with this girl. So that was the long life of my bareheaded doll with dried hard glue all over her head. Well, that's all of my notes I have to tell you about me. So between now and the next time, I'll try to think of something else that you might want to hear. that will make you go, "Ah," or that will make you laugh and think I'm an idiot. So I will see you all next time. I think that was all my notes. Yeah, it was. And you be good. I'll try to be good. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.